Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Grandmaster League Gosu out of the map Cloud Kingdom. Spying down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we do have EGDeMuslim, and up here in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent DnXZark as the blue Zerg, and DeMuslim is, of course, the red Terran. I don't know how I managed to forget to say that, and I just blew out my microphone a little bit, but I'll fix that in post, and I'll just turn down my gain a little bit so that you guys aren't bleeding out of your ears. You know, as you do when you're a commentator, you try to make sure people don't bleed out their ears, because that's typically almost an insult to your voice if they start bleeding out of their ears. So anyway, big news, big surprises, big stuff coming up. Recently, I was on the AOS episode for the Queen, the Anatomy of StarCraft episode, that of course that is, where we discussed that alongside Panera, Fonzie, and In Control from, of course, Evil Geniuses, the Muslims, teammate, because, kind of a big deal, there was 900 people watching live, it's all good, also, I participated in the Lord of StarCraft video, the first one featuring me, myself, Dawnkraft, Top Secret, and Ragnarok. And that was, of course, about Arcturus Mengsk and the rise of the Dominion. And that video should be posted very shortly following this one, or even before this one is posted. Or, there might be a coincidence where they end up being posted at the same time, and that would be quite a coincidence. And I probably would never know it because I'm not going to be refreshing the YouTube pages all day. So, maybe I won't know if it was posted at the same time, but that's okay. I accept myself, I accept my flaws there, it's all good. And both of those videos will of course be on Panera86, youtube.com/user/Panera86. It's going to be very fancy, you should go check them out. The Arcturus Mengsk episode was actually really fun to do. It was a lot of very nerdy lore stuff, and if you really don't know the backstory behind Arcturus Mengsk, you should definitely go watch it, because he is probably one of the coolest characters in the StarCraft universe. I mean, he is an awesome guy. Well, okay, he's not an awesome guy. He's a cool character. He's an awesome character. He's a horrible dickbag, but he's an awesome character. It looks like we do have DnXZark moving out, checking out his opponent's base. DeMuslim is, of course, getting his scout off as well. We do have the spawning pool and the extractor coming up for DnXZark after the hatchery, so we did see a 15 hatch, very fast hatchery. And we actually see DeMuslim going for a very fast command center, interestingly enough. So we are going to have a kind of a macro game to settle into here, because neither of these players are actually going to be able to put pressure on the other one for a little while here, and it's going to be very fancy. And I think everyone's going to find it quite fanciful. Ah, yes, I feel like being classy today, speaking like this. Anyway, we do have the Queens coming up for DnXZark. Those are, of course, very important units. The Marines are now pumping out for DeMuslim, and it looks like he's actually going to be going for the third command center. So we might even see a very fast third base from DeMuslim. He probably won't take it as soon as the command center finishes up. He's probably going to finish the command center, build an orbital command, drop a couple of mules off it, and then lift it off and go for the third base, because taking a third base on this map that fast is extremely ballsy, because Zergs have quite a few attack paths that they can just absolutely ravage you at. They can come up here and destroy your natural, they can come up here or here and attack your third base. It's not favorable until you have a large enough army where you can actually hold basically this entire area, alongside having a couple siege tanks down here and a couple of them up here, and then just the rest of your army again right in the middle, right here. It looks like DnXZark has spent the first of his energy on this Queen to build a creep tumor, which is a little bit interesting. Usually you won't see players do that, and it looks like, oh my god, we have 6 roaches. This might not be a macro game at all. I might have completely lied to all you people, because that's a lot of roaches to be pumping out without any drones. And yeah, that's a lot of roaches. That's 6 roaches. Yeah, that's just, you know what? I think there's only really one thing to say here, in that is a lot of roaches. However, it might be extremely effective, because DeMuslim would appear to be going for some level of Hellion play based on the positioning of his barracks and his factory and his reactor on the barracks, because I doubt he's going for super duper mass Marines, and honestly, Hellions will probably get cleaned up by roach pressure. I mean, Hellions not that good against roaches, and even with 6 roaches, these things can do an incredible amount of damage if they're microed correctly, and if it really is, Hellions. Hellions are a bad idea, and oh my god, it is going to be Hellions, and he's not even going to have Hellions out before this group of Roaches swings in. In fact, he's going to have such a disadvantage as far as tech goes. I think that DnXZark will probably be able to just stop mining entirely at this base for a little while. And it looks like we have all of these workers trying to run away, trying to get away. I would not be surprised to see the liftoff from the orbital command reasonably soon, because honestly, what else is he going to do? It looks like we have all of the mules ferrying up to the main base, losing quite a few minerals in their transition thereof, because, of course, you know, you need to keep mules mining the entire time if you want them to be super cost efficient. Anyway, we do have the command center taking a little bit of a couple hits from the roaches. It looks like the roaches are in a very good position at this point. I mean, honestly, they're in a very good position. The Banshees are going to start coming out from DnXZark, which is a little bit of an interesting tech decision, because Banshees are really good against roaches, but then if the Zerg goes for literally any other tech, you're screwed, because you built Banshees. And it looks like we are going to see the Spire coming up fairly soon. There is, of course, no cloak going down for the Banshees, so they should be very, very easy snipes for any amount of Mutalisks or Corruptors or literally anything that the Zerg wants to produce that can hit air. They could probably get sniped by Queens if he felt like walking his Queens across the map. I highly doubt he's going to do that, but you know, you never know. DnXZark is a little bit of a wild card. You never know what that guy's going to do. Anyway, we do have extra Queens now coming out from DnXZark. It looks like it's just going to be one to spread out the creep, which is pretty standard. It's fairly standard. Usually you end up seeing two from most Zerg players, but one works just as well. It was very, very popular in the metagame just a little while ago to get a large amount of Queens. It looks like we do have the Hellions driving by. And did all the roaches get cleaned up? Oh, they did. Yeah, there's Banshee. Of course. Alright, so it looks like these roaches are going to be doing as much damage as they can. These roaches actually did do a reasonable amount of economic damage. 9 SCVs killed for 6 roaches? I would call that at least speaking even, if not doing better, just because you had to forced your opponent into this sort of Banshee tech, and he has no idea you're going Spire, so the joke's on him. It looks like these 7 Mutalisks are just about to pop out, and this is not going to be a good situation for DnXZark because he does not have anything really to fight off 7 Mutalisks. He has 7 Marines, and typically equal numbers of Marines versus equal number of Mutalisks. The Mutalisks win just a little bit. They actually don't win by any amount of overarching number, but without any medevacs, okay, now there's 2 medevacs. Okay, so maybe the Marines will win now. However, you know, there's going to be quite a bit of damage that the Mutalisks are going to be able to create. And here we do have them swinging into the south side of the base. There is no missile turret currently up, so you're going to see quite a few SCVs fall here. There goes the first one. I'm done. 2. I'm not even going to bother counting these because it's just going to grow quite exponentially. That's a lot of SCVs going down, though, and that is quite annoying. The Marine Micro is finally getting them pulled back, but it's still only 4 Marines, and it looks like he's going to be going for a little bit of a snipe on some of the tech labs. However, it's not amazingly effective. There we do have some nice Micro taking out just a couple more SCVs. He does manage to lose a Mutalisk, which is a little bit rough, but honestly, for 25 SCV kills, totally worth it. DnXZark is really starting to take over this game. I mean, it's 48 workers to 41, so, you know, even with 25 workers killed, he's actually not in that great of an economic position over his opponent, but I could definitely see that starting to ramp up. Because basically with 48 workers, so long as he can keep the SCV count in check, he's set as a Zerg player. I mean, he's going to be going for a level of Banling Bust here, which without any supply depots and without anything to cover the Marines is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage. I don't actually know if DnXZark is going to be able to hold on through this, because this is quite a big bio ball. It's pretty reasonable, but there's a lot of Mutalisks out right now, and there's going to be a lot more Mutalisks coming out fairly soon. And then it's going to be kind of that tech switch into Banshees, or Banelings. God, why did I say Banshees? What the hell is wrong with me? It's going to be that tech switch into Banelings, and those Banelings are going to be able to do an incredible amount of damage when it comes to sniping off some of the Terran Marines, and, you know, just letting the Mutalisks have free reign. It looks like DnXZark is finally moving out these 6 Mutalisks, bringing the total number up to 14, I do believe. It looks like the Mutalisks fighting the Marines, not the best decision, because of course with Medevacs, Marines absolutely wreck them. So the total number is back down to 9, which is a little bit rough, and that was kind of a really bad engagement for DnXZark. He really needed those extra, really needed those extra Banelings. Or those extra Mutalisks, and I'm not actually sure how well this is going to go. We do have a reasonable surround going down on the Terran army, but beautiful stutter step micro from DnXZark. Oh my god, he was doing that like perfectly. And it looks like that is going to be forcing the runaway from DnXZark. If we look at the units lost tab, we do have Zark in a little bit of a bad position, but again, as far as income goes, oh, he's behind now. Oh god, that's not good. Zark, this is not the best situation you ever could have been in. It looks like we do have 7 Mutalisks now just popping, so he still has a lot of Mutalisks, but Marines are pretty good. Marines are pretty good units versus Mutalisks, especially if there's no Infestors, nothing else. You know, they work out quite well. Because usually if you go for this kind of Mutalisk ball, you're going to be going for Mutalisk, Ling, and Baneling. And those are three very, and you know, Lings and Banelings are very, very good when it comes to killing off Marines very fast and in that blink of an eye kind of moment. If you just have Mutalisks versus a Marine ball with medevac support, it's not going to work, I think is one way of putting it. You know, it's probably the nicer way of putting it, because the other way of putting it is it's goddamn stupid. However, we are going to see DnXZark continuing to try to have this sort of engaging force, but it's not good. I mean, he's going to snipe off a Marine, but a Marine is 50 minerals, which isn't a whole lot. It isn't, so, you know, he kind of ends up in an awkward position there. It looks like we do have 32 more Zerglings on the way. He is going for Baneling speed, but currently there are no Banelings down on the map. And he should probably make some Banelings, because Banelings are pretty freaking good. You know, Zark, just make some Banelings, alright? It'll work out. I promise you, it'll work out. Just make the Banelings, and then it'll be all good. And I took my mouse off, took my hand off the mouse a little bit there, so I missed a bit of a battle. But let's be honest, it wasn't that important. You much rather would have heard me rant and go into a high-pitched voice, because that's what you guys come here for, right? It's not for my deep, sultry tones. It's for the falsetto, I do believe. Correct? It looks like we do have the Zergling run by going to be doing quite a bit of damage to this SCV line. He might be able to even out the worker advantage disadvantage in here. But DnXZark is going right for the throat. He is not even giving one shit. Oh my god. We might see a base trade here, and that base trade is going to go quite heavily in DnXZark's favor, because he has an army. It looks like we do have 25 Banelings forming up. Where are those Banelings forming up? There are those Banelings forming up. That's a lot of Banelings forming up. So they are going to be able to roll quite effectively into this Terran army. And oh my god, Zark has a pretty good army right now. This is that Ling Baneling force that I was talking about. The Banelings do go rolling in first. They're going to do quite a bit of damage to these Marines, and oh my god, they might just clean them up. And wow, that was pretty freaking good. And honestly, this army from DnXZark is not that strong anymore. It's really not that strong at all. And if we look at the income tab, we have Zark still in a bad position. Okay, Zark's still in a bad position. He transitioned all of his workers to the third base, then all the workers at the third base died. If we look at the workers killed count, that's a lot of workers killed for both of our players. 49 for Zark. But DnXZark is just a king of this macro. If you look at the production tab, and if you go back in this video and watch the production tab, he almost always has 2 to 3 SCVs in the production tab. He never stops producing those SCVs, because he knows the amount of economic damage that's being done to him, and he knows that he needs SCVs to help fight it. It looks like we do have a lot of Zerglings popping out. Holy crap, that's a lot of Zerglings popping out. So we are going to have the Swarm really showcasing its ability here, and, you know, I don't know. Zark is still, he's not in the worst position ever. Granted, he's not in a position that I'll be like, he has this game won. But he also doesn't have the game lost, and that's something, isn't it? Yeah, that's definitely something. It looks like we have the first Thor being surrounded by Zerglings. Some less than favorable Baneling hits going off here. Some nice Marine splitting going down. However, honestly, there's just so many Zerglings that it doesn't matter. Zark with an actual very impressive just army macro. And it looks like he is going to end up being taken out, which is bad because, you know, he doesn't have the economy to support this. But it's okay, yeah, now he's in a bad spot, because with the 6 medevacs, the 11 Marines, a turn, and siege tank mode coming up, it's going to be very hard to actually win this with Zergling Baneling. Because he doesn't have the Mutalisk numbers to support this army. He doesn't have the Mutalisk numbers. I should say he doesn't have the Mutalisk numbers to snipe the tanks for the Zerglings. And I just popped off my pop filter, but that's okay. And it looks like he's going to be going for a little bit more of a harass into the third base. But it's honestly not going to do that much, especially when you compare it to DnXZark's attack here. Because this is a lot of bio units. And bio units do quite a bit of damage. And Zark does not have the Zerglings to actually be able to fight this off. So we are going to see the natural going down for Zark here, and that was a bit of a painful game considering how well he was doing at the beginning of it. I mean, if he had just stuck more to the macro, I think he would have had a much better chance in that game. But then he just went for this really weird all-in plays for like 12 minutes in a row, and then he lost because they were really weird all-in plays for 12 minutes in a row. So anyway, guys, if you want your games commentated, you can head over. You can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to watch any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and comment and be like, "You suck." I'm on the internet, and you know, I guess that's it for me. So this is Boisterous signing out.